You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Brenda Perryman, and you can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Fridays at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern.
Good morning, and welcome to the Brenda Perryman Show right here on TV 33, WHPR, Comcast 91, or 90 in Detroit and all over the world, courtesy of the World Wide Web. I have a fabulous show for you today. My second guest is Nortrice Banner. She's a comedian extraordinaire. She's here from California. And my first guest, they're actors, they're artistic directors, they're everything. From the Detroit Repertory Theater, and we have something great that's getting ready to happen. Leah Smith and Yolanda Jack. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Oh, I could always count on you all to project. Oh, everybody's going to hear us. Such good things are happening. One thing I want to say about the Rep, and some of you might know, I'm a board member of the Detroit Repertory Theater, and the reason is that the Rep never left Detroit. When the riots started and happened and everything, and it happened all around them, they stayed. When so many people had a mass exodus, there was a mass exodus, and I really appreciate that. Leah, of course, you weren't there then. No.
No.
These people are young. They don't know what we know. You know?
We came a little bit later. Just a little bit.
Okay, but still, you're continuing the legacy.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because you have assumed a new position, right?
Yes. I am now the Associate Artistic Director / Managing Director of the Detroit Repertory Theater.
And not only is she that, she acts, she directs, she sweeps, she does everything.
That's right.
At the theater, and we have so much to talk to you about right now because so much is going on. Yolanda, first and foremost, you're from Detroit. I know they've seen you before. You've even acted on the show before.
Sure have.
Last year, what was the play?
Dolphin Island.
Yes.
Yes.
Jeff's Dolphin Island.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. And when did you start acting?
In high school with Marilyn McCormick at Cass Tech,
Marilyn,
and
yes.
have had a bug for it since then. Well, even before then, but really being encouraged by my teachers, like so many students have been encouraged by you, knowing that you have people who support and encourage and love you, give you a foundation, and then send you off into the world. So yeah, coming back home has been my pleasure and dream to be in places like the Detroit Rep and other places, but it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
And don't you also work with the Charles Wright
I
Museum?
do. Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History.
What you do with that?
I am an educator and the youth program coordinator at the museum, and so it's my pleasure to see and work with young people all the time and think about them and their future, help them encourage themselves into the future.
Oh, that is wonderful, wonderful. I got to stop, and I have to make an announcement in a moment. Everybody, you better stay tuned for my next show. Because my next segment, because not only do I have Nortrice Banner, I have Claudette Robinson, Miss Motown herself from the Miracles, original Miracles, and a woman, when I met her originally, I told her I have loved her all my life, and that's the truth.
Wow.
So stay tuned. This is history.
Happening right here.
Anyway, I just love her so much. But back to acting.
Yes.
And, well, performing. We got an all-performing show today. I just love it. So, Yolanda, so at the museum, what was your job again?
Educator and youth program coordinator.
So what do you do specifically?
Well, and the main thing is bring groups of young people, adults, whoever it is, through the museum, through the exhibitions, and then thinking about programs, ways to engage young people, teenagers, middle schoolers, elementary school, young adults in college. So just helping them understand how their past and the histories of the past and not impacts and encourages them into the future. You have examples of men and women. If you're interested in theater, if you're interested in science, if you're interested in whatever field, there are men and women that you can point to from centuries ago, decades ago, or even millennia ago that you can see as your ancestors, maybe not literal ancestors, but certainly your figurative ancestors in the world.
Foremothers and forefathers.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And we're very proud of it.
This is wonderful. And so after, because you went to Howard University.
Yes, I did.
Correct?
I did.
Bisons.
That's right, HU.
And so did you act there at all?
Yes. I did. I started my freshman year acting and then moved to the theater administration because I was more interested not only in the performance but just the whole concept of what theater is. And when I got there, Henriette Edmonds, one of the first things that she taught us was that it's called show business, but it should be business show.
Business of show.
And we really did understand through her and the examples of the other professors there that there is so much more beyond being on stage in the stars.
Yes.
So I got a chance and to learn about and experience, and so I've gotten a chance to be backstage, front stage, just all over, similar to Leah, but we just...
Leah,
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
just thinking of that. And many of us, I know I worked on stage crew.
That's
I
right.
The paint.
You got to do it all.
You learn to do it all.
That's exactly it.
And then sometimes you settle where you want. I always settled as a director, even though I have performed. But I love direction. I just love it. But Leah, so this year is the 63rd year coming up?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
1957, so and we were born in 1957 of August, so it's our 63rd birthday right now.
Wow.
The season begins November 7th through...
What play?
It is a world premiere by a Michigan playwright, Joseph Zettelmeyer. We are so excited to have him. He is a young up-and-coming writer. He's one of the most produced Michigan playwrights. And we finally get him on the Detroit Rep stage. The play is called Channel Cat.
What's it about?
He describes it as a Southern Gothic. And I wonder how many people know what that phrase means. It is a literary term for Faulkner. William Faulkner has made Southern Gothic the theme of, or the style of Southern Gothic family, or popular. Films like Angel Heart with Lisa Bonet, that is a Southern Gothic. And what makes a Southern Gothic? Like an Angel Heart, it's dark. It's usually set in the South. There's lots of mystery, otherworldly spirituality type stuff. Those go into a Southern Gothic. However, Channel Cat is also very, very funny. He really knows how to write dialogue. And so it's a family and friendship story with lots of secrets set in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. 3 characters.
Okay, because I want to get them on the show prior.
You will get them.
Yes, I want to get them on the show so that they can show my audience what it's made of. I love having a little drama on my show. I love having that.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. And the actors are always so good. Who are the actors in that?
It hasn't been cast yet.
Oh, auditions?
No, in a couple weeks. So if you are an actor interested in auditioning, check out our website, and the audition information is on our website.
Excellent, excellent.
And can I tell you, you can get a little sneak peek of the play tomorrow.
That's what we're getting ready to go into. Tomorrow, there is a great festival over on Woodrow Wilson, correct?
Yeah.
Why don't you all tell us about it?
It's the third annual summer festival, cultural festival. It is amazing. There's art, there's drama, there's music, there's dance. I mean, it's just everything, and it's stuff for the young people, the little babies, the grown people. There's just a variety of things, and there's also information about learning about your health, and there's gardening, and it's just a whole community coming together to celebrate themselves, celebrate their the things that they offer to the community. The Detroit Rep with the theater, the Muslim Center right there on the corner, the spiritual services, the Huda Clinic, the garden right across the road. So there's so much to engage in the community right there. The audience members of the theater, but also the members of the community who live right there on Buena Vista, on Woodrow Wilson a little bit further.
Okay,
so
it starts at Davison or right below Davison.
Yep,
right
one block south of Davison.
South of Davison, all the way to what?
To Buena Vista, so
Yes.
spanning 2 city blocks.
Buena.
It's actually it's actually 4 city blocks that are going to be filled with all these different activities.
Yeah.
Right.
And one word, most important, it's free.
free
All
free.
day, tomorrow,
Yeah.
for everyone.
Delicious food, lots of great music. Molly Wop, the Gabriel Brass Band.
Mollywop?
Oh man, if you don't know, you got to come get
I keep on
experienced.
hearing about
Oh my gosh, they are such a great band. I love everybody in the band, but also because they are so fun to perform and to watch perform. Music, funk, reggae, rock, a little bit of rap. I mean, everything. You can't sit still watching Molly Wop perform. And
No
then-
one
I don't.
can.
I mean, it's just fun, and you can boogie down. Young man Xavier Jack, somebody that I think is a up and coming rapper, a young, beautiful young fella, is going to perform right before they go on stage. The Cut Time Symphonia is going to be earlier in the day. Classical music, hip hop, jazz, the Second Line Band with the brass band. You're going to get all 10,000 of your steps in.
Planet D, No Net,
Yes.
jazz. There's
Oh, yeah,
every genre of
everything.
music will be
And then
performed
Detroit
tomorrow.
Playwrights Theater.
Detroit Playwrights Lab.
Yep.
Playwrights Lab, I'm sorry. Well, their theater.
Yep.
What are they doing?
They do earlier in the day that will be the children's performances. It starts out with a play by Cassandra Freeman, a Detroit
Yes.
family member, and director, actor, producer, writer, and she wrote a play with her children's help that will be performed at 1 o'clock, followed by the Detroit Playwrights Lab, which they will be holding a workshop for youth. It is very popular, so much fun for adults and youth. I promise you, you will be entertained. Last year they brought in the kids, and the kids wrote plays that the adults were then had to perform.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, it was.
That is hilarious.
There's
That-
brilliance
that's
in these
great.
little people.
You know, I've been talking to so many people. I was talking to a gentleman downtown yesterday. They're encouraging young people to write more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Write more, write more. Write their stories, write poetry, write all types of things. So he's trying to lasso me into that. But I just, I can't do everything, but I do want to be somewhat involved with helping kids, because I find writing, it keeps your creativity going. The unfortunate thing is a lot of adults grow into adults. A lot of kids grow into adults and they forget about their creativity. And that is very, very important.
Right.
Yes.
That's one of the important missions of this festival. It's a gift back to the neighborhood to tell you that along with your health and your diet, that arts and creativity is an essential part of you being a whole, healthy human being.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it validates you when you write your stories, or when you see yourself on stage, when you hear things that are familiar and come from your world. It's a validation in a way that you cannot. There's no comparison anywhere else, and that's why I love theater so much.
About the fact that one of my students, I had put him in his first musical. He was in 9th grade, and he ended up. He stayed with me that year. I rode him like a camel too, because he was very creative, and very talented, could sing, could act, but he was spoiled. And his mother sent him to Interlochen, but he said, Miss Perryman, thank you for putting me in that first play. He ended up in the original company of Hamilton.
Wow.
Yes, and one day he was at the White House and he was doing a selfie, but in the background was Michelle Obama, and he said, "This is not a dream." So it makes you feel good. And then another one of my students just directed Big Sean's video.
Yes.
Yeah, and that, well, it's gotten 5 million views and it's only been released 2 weeks.
It's a good video.
And yeah, it is a good video, and the flowers coming out there. And so we talk all the time about that, and he kept his creativity going because he had gone away to college for a year, and just so happened he came back in the summer, and I was directing a play. I had been commissioned to direct a play, and the lead character never showed up that had been cast before I got on board, and I said, "Lawrence, why don't you come and just do this character?" Because he had played Walter Lee, and he's played a number of characters at my show, well, when I was teaching him. And from then on, he just never went back to college. He just kept it going. He's done several films. He's directed Kanye West. He has directed just a lot of people, and they're getting ready to direct a movie here.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because he and Big Sean actually have a film company called Great Lakes Films, because they're both from here.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, you know, you never know. You keep
never
it
know.
going. And see, my mother, she didn't encourage the drama. Did your mother encourage your drama?
Yes, thank you. She was a musician and an artist herself, too.
So that makes it great.
It only was when, you know, I became college age and made my 500th call asking for money. When she would say, "You know, you should have gone into law." But in the end, she said, "Yeah, you made the right choice."
When I told my mother I was majoring in drama, the first thing she said, 2 words, "You'll starve."
Yeah,
I said,
right.
"Well, then I'll teach it." I'll make sure I'll be covered some way or the other.
Gotta
Were
eat.
you encouraged?
I was encouraged as a young person, but then similar to Leah, when they realized how serious I was about it, they were like, "Well, how are you going to eat? How are you going to support yourself?" And my grandfather, and I think maybe he didn't intend to be the thing that spurred me on. He said, "You'll be a waitress," and I was determined to never be a waitress.
That's my nightmare job. That's my nightmare job. is waitresses.
I never.
20 years in the business.
Oh shoot! I
Really?
Yeah.
In somebody's face. I just don't like
Bartending. Love it.
Oh no.
Well,
For
that
fun.
was-
I like to do it for fun now.
For fun, it is fun to do it when you're like for charity. I've done it for charity, but never as a job. And I'm happily to say that I never had to resort to that. Happily, I found ways to support myself either
Absolutely.
backstage. But that was the thing. But so I think that they encouraged me by being just put it out there. Hey, if you don't push and don't try, you will have to fall back on something else. And so, yeah, it's an interesting thing. But that encouragement.
Well, I'm sure that both of your teachers love seeing what happened to you and to see people.
We had the same
develop.
teacher.
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Yeah, we went to high school together.
oh,
That's
my
right.
God, I never knew that.
Sister.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
No, really.
have mercy, Jesus. So, we have a great season coming up with the rep.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the other shows.
Oh, it's so good. They're all so different. They're all so good. They are all world premieres, coincidentally. The plays come from, I say coincidentally because they come from our playwrights program, so they get submitted from all over the world. And so you heard about Channel Cat, that is the November show running for 8 weeks by the Michigan playwright, followed by The Puppeteer by Desiree York. And The Puppeteer is a kind of fantastical play. It's about African American female identity through the ages. It's really written very stylistically. So scene 1, for example, is set in the 1920s. Scene 2 set in 1940s. Scene 3, the 60s, etc. until we get to the current time. And it follows one line of a woman's family. Starts with the mother, then her daughter, 20 years later, then her daughter, 20 years later, then her daughter, etc.
Oh, exciting.
Yes.
What's next?
And then that is followed by something completely different, a play called Rules for Active Shooters by Frankie Little Hardin.
I can imagine what that is.
And we knew that was relevant when we picked that play 2 months ago, and then a few weeks ago.
The mass shooting.
Yes.
So it is a look at a fictional story of a young man who goes and does a mass shooting in a mall. And one of his victims is alive. She's been shot, and she has an opportunity, and she takes it to grill him and try to find out why someone like him would do something like that. So it is pretty intense. It will be performed without intermission, and it should spark some, hopefully, some inspired conversation.
And cathartic.
Yeah.
Okay, and your next one?
And then Life on the Moon by Anna Tatelman, a lovely family story about a young man who returns home from the military for Christmas to join his family. His sister, his 18-year-old sister, has autism, and the family is all consumed with caring for her. So it's a look at a family dealing with some very specific dysfunctions, but it can relate to any...
As the illness.
Correct. And in the end, you question whether, like, actually who has the disability in this family.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
And you all get to see a sneak peek of those tomorrow.
Correct,
Oh,
at
great.
5:45,
Tomorrow, which is the 25th.
Yes.
24th.
24th.
Today's the 23rd,
Yes.
tomorrow,
Oh,
24th.
God,
8:23.
I'm just crazy as a loon here. Oh, yeah,
You're a
I'm
day
thinking
ahead.
all day I thought it was the 24th. But it is the 23rd. Absolutely. So tomorrow, the 24th, starts at what time?
Noon.
To 10.
Noon to 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So you could sleep in a little bit and then come, get your energy together because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much to do.
Yes.
And tell them where again?
At the Detroit Repertory Theater. If you look at a map of Detroit, we are in the exact center of the city of Detroit.
Really,
Yeah.
really.
Uh-huh.
And then it's on Woodrow Wilson.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going down to Buena Vista. Buena Vista.
People in the neighborhood say Buna,
Yes.
and Brenda is in the neighborhood.
I grew up with Buena Vista.
Me too.
Yeah, but then when I don't know how to speak Spanish, but I did know Buena.
Yes.
Yes. So everybody will be saying Buena Vista. Anyway, so tomorrow we're going to have a good time. I'll be there. She'll be there. She'll
Yes.
be there. A lot of people will be there.
You should come too.
Yes. So we'll be back in just a moment. I got a special guest. I got Miss Claudette Robinson in the house. I've loved her all my life.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Brenda Perryman, and you can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Fridays at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern.
It is my pleasure, without further ado, to introduce you to my guest this morning, the great Mrs. Claudette Robinson, straight from LA, right here, and my former student and my very good friend and a comedian and actress extraordinaire, Nortrice Banner. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
This was such a wonderful surprise, so great, and I want to talk to Nortrice, which I am going to get to, But we all remember Claudette from The Miracles, and she sang with the men. So I love that. You remember? Well, of course you remember, but I remember watching her on television. I'd say, and she's dressed so nice, and she got all the steps that they're doing, she's doing, and all of that. So how did that come about?
Well, to tell you how it all came about is my brother, Emerson Rogers, was a singer, and of course you have to remember everybody was a teenager, young teenagers. So whenever my brother had a group, I would have a group, but mine would be all girls. So when he became a orcherette, I became an orcherette, and he was an orchid.
Orcherette was the name of the group?
The name of the group.
Oh.
So when he became a matador, I became a matadorette. So the Matadors actually, when they finished their lineup, consisted of Bobby Rogers, Ronnie White, Pete Moore, Smokey Robinson, and my brother Emerson Rogers.
Okay.
So they went for an audition. An audition was about to come up, but the guys used to rehearse in our basement all the time. So with them rehearsing, I knew all their songs.
Now, were these songs that were just out already? Or
some were originals, and some were just, songs that were popular.
So were they doing it, practicing a cappella, or they had music, or who was...
Basically, it was a cappella. Okay. Yeah, because we didn't have any instrumentation. Well, the thing is that my brother said, nothing is happening with this group. I'm joining the Army. And that's what he did. He joined the Army, and about a month later, an audition came about. And Smokey asked me if I would sing with them. And I thought,
how old were you?
Oh, I was probably like 2. I was very young. We were young teenagers.
Yes.
And I wasn't sure if I could sing with them because, they were guys, so I thought the harmony would be too low. Because I was not going to be the lead singer. Smokey was always the lead singer.
Oh, okay.
So
he had a light voice.
Well, he was actually at that time he was singing in the soprano section of his high school choir.
Okay.
So his voice was a natural first tenor.
Okay.
And we went to the audition. I actually did go with them to the audition, and when we got there, the guy said, "The world does not need another group that has a girl in the background." So what he was talking about were the Platters. And so we had no plans of being like the Platters. The Platters, did like a lot of...
I love the Platters.
Oh, absolutely. Amazing group. But we wanted to do more like rock and roll, dancing, no gowns.
Because they did standards for the most part.
They did mainly standards, yes. But an amazing group, talented, every one of them. So, I wasn't that disappointed because I really wasn't a part of their group. So, they were really disappointed. They were almost about in tears because they thought this was their real chance
and they had
to make
practiced so much.
Oh yeah, and had been singing for a while because first they were the Five Chimes, then they became the Matadors, and so it was like, this is our opportunity. But I don't think anybody was even 17 yet. I think everybody was either 16, 17, around that age group.
Where were you in high school? Where did you go?
I went to the High School of Commerce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Business.
Yes, ma'am. Well, after we were about to go home, there was this gentleman walking around, and he kept paying attention to the group. And he said, he walked over to Smokey, and he said, "Do you have any more of those songs?" Smokey said, "Yes." And he said, "How many?" He said, 100. And he began to show him these songs because he wanted to hear what did we have, And as a result of that, he finally introduced himself, and he said, "My name is Berry Gordy." Well, at that time, this is a long time ago, Berry Gordy was known for being an amazing songwriter. He had written all these hits for...
Lonely Teardrops, didn't
yeah,
he write
he had,
that?
yes,
That was
for Jackie Wilson.
I know.
And Jackie Wilson, in October, is going to get his star on the Hollywood Walk of
Right,
Fame.
right.
Yeah. So anyway...
And it's about time.
It is. But I think sometimes when people are deceased, it takes sometimes a little longer than it would, if you're still alive.
So what happened? Barry Gordy saw you?
Well, there was no Motown yet.
Right.
So the year is 1957.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, probably I wasn't quite born, but, I
Right.
heard about it.
None of us were. None of us were. Yeah, right.
So, as a result, this is funny. As a result of that, we started working with Mr. Gordy. And as we started working with him, he said, "You guys have got to get a record." And so, our very first record, there was no Motown yet, was a song called "Got a Job," which
Got a
was an
Job.
answer song to "Get a Job"
Right.
by the Silhouettes. And the guy that had produced a lot of hits for the Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers was the one that owned the record company, and that was George Goldner out of New York.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, our very first time out, we heard it on the radio, and we thought we did pretty well.
What was your feeling when you first heard it on the radio?
Well, for me, it was absolutely exciting because you're hearing your voice for the first time. And when you hear your voice, it's much different than when you're hearing it through your own ears.
Right.
And so it's like, of course, I thought, well, now the guys will, get a hit, and they will have their careers going. And I wasn't sure if I was going to stay in the group because my thought was, I had wanted to be a teacher. So I thought, we'll do it for a couple of years and see what happens. And as a result of that, when we received our first check, I was almost certain I was going to continue my education because the
20
check
cents.
was $3.19.
Really?
Yeah, that was for all of us.
For all of you?
Yeah, all
You had
five.
to divide that
By four.
Yeah.
By five.
Yeah, and the guitar player as well. It was probably 6. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you
yeah,
end up
yeah.
with 45 cents or something.
No, like
Well,
like
the
3
check
cents.
was never cashed. It's actually in the Motown Museum.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Wow. So I remember Got a Job, but I remember Shop Around.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first, we
Shop Around
played it till it
became
was white.
well. Shop Around was Motown's
Right.
first million seller, and that kind of like put the Miracles as well as Motown on the map. But actually, our very first record, the first label was Tamla.
Yes.
And so we recorded almost all of our records on the Tamla label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was Shop Around on Tamla?
Yes.
I still have Shop Around. I have all my records from when I was 14. I still have them. And Henry Tyler, who's here, he always says, "Miss Perryman, are they in good shape?" I said, "No," because you remember, well, you might not remember because you were a celebrity at that time. We used to take, when people had parties, we would say, "Well, what don't you have? I might have it." And so
Right.
we'd get the records. We had the 45s, and we'd take them to the party, put our names on it, take them to the party.
Right.
Always got our records back. It was just such a good system back in the day. But, sometimes we had to put a nickel on that arm of that record player to make it go right.
Right.
So you sang with the Miracles for how long?
I sang with the Miracles actually from 1957 to 1972. And you want to know where did I go? Well, I had, unfortunately, 8 miscarriages. And but I didn't have 8 by the time I came off the road. But Mr. Gordy and Mr. Robinson decided that maybe the road was making my health suffer. So they took the vote, which was not supposed to be them, was supposed to be the group,
Right.
and a group wouldn't vote because we voted on everything,
Uh-huh.
you know, because we sort of ran our organization as like a
Democracy,
business. Yeah,
in
we
a
really did.
democracy,
We really
yeah.
did. And the thing is that I stopped performing in 1965, and I was not real happy about that. I want to let you know.
Okay.
It was not my decision. And, you know, because I didn't know if I'd ever have children.
Uh-huh.
So I was thinking, why am I coming off the road?
Right.
But I guess like what they decided is that I would actually sing on every record that the Miracles recorded. And so that's why I say 1972, because I continued recording with them on every record.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am?
On the record, on the song, Ooh, Baby, Baby,
Yes, ma'am.
why was it so short?
Sure.
Well, the reason why I say that, because we were, you know, I was at the teenage time at that time.
Yeah.
And when they played it at the party, you just get your groove on and it's over. And then we'd all stand there just still like statues
Right.
until somebody put it back on so we could just finish the dance, because we used to remember what they used to call it cootin'. They used to call it cootin' because we were dancing all close and everything. It was just so nice. And then the song didn't seem to last 2 minutes.
Because they knew y'all was cootin'.
Well, it was longer than 2 minutes.
Oh.
But, you know, sometimes as
It was so
records
good. It was so good.
as records were being recorded, you know, DJs didn't like for you to have them too long because, you know, they got to have their next rotation of play. So I don't think that was the reason why, but I do think that it was probably just the ordinary.
It was such a good record. No, it
you
was
like
a little
it?
shorter than other records.
You think so?
I know.
I'm going to
I
have to play
studied
that to
Motown.
see.
I mean, I studied it because,
Yeah, right,
you know, what
right.
was so good about that day in particular, you just heard the Miracles have a new record. So you automatically went and got it, no matter what it was. You knew you were going to like it. And then you started, when you get a little older, you say, well, who wrote this? Who wrote this? You wanted to know where the words came from.
Right.
And for many of us, it was like the music, especially my age of 20, no, but it's like the music of our lives, you know, because anything that you do when you're teenagers,
Right.
well,
2 minutes and 40 seconds.
2 minutes and 40 seconds?
The power
Oh my
of
goodness,
Google.
it was.
2 minutes and
Randy
40
Henry,
seconds.
who's on my next show, 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
But that's almost 3 minutes.
I guess it was so good. It just didn't seem that long.
See there?
But, you know, all the steps. Okay, so once you all started, because I was, you all did the Apollo Theater when you started doing
Absolutely.
reviews, right?
Yeah.
And I was in the first row of the first Motown review, only because we didn't stop at the candy counter at the Fox Theater. We got down to the first, and like I was telling somebody, I didn't understand. I saw that hole in the ground. I didn't know what an orchestra pit
It
was.
was. Mhm.
And then I said, when they started coming up, you know, when they
Right.
started playing, I said, well, they're going to be in front of the acts, but that's okay because we're still in the house with the acts. And then when the bandstand moved upstage,
Right.
and then it filled in, and you all
Right.
were right in front, that was just fantastic. How did it feel performing in front of the hometown crowd like that?
In front of the Detroit audience?
Detroit audience.
Oh, that was actually a real thrill because of the fact that you were home. You had your family there, you know, your mom, your dad, your cousins, whatever. And so, you know, so they had an opportunity to see you. Because, you know, in the early days, it's not like we made a fortune. Money was a little tight, you know. And our very first Apollo date, we made $750 for the week.
For the week.
Yes, which we had to join the union, which was $150 for each one of us.
For each one, so you were in the hole. You were in the hole.
Well, sort of, but the union man took pity on us, and we paid, the first was $50 down, and then with $25 at every union house after that.
Do you know who I interviewed Tuesday?
No.
Tony Newton.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did a special show because he was
Yes.
in town.
Right, right.
And I was called. I was out of town, but they said I have Tony Newton here,
Mm-hmm.
and so the station had some time, and so I
Right,
had
right.
Tony on, and he told me he worked with you
Oh, he
guys.
certainly did, and he was an amazing artist.
Yes.
Bass player.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
really,
yes.
really a wonderful guy.
So I have a video of you all at the Apollo also.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Somebody had
I'll
given
have to have that.
Yeah, I do. You don't have it?
No, I don't.
I'll try and get a copy made for you.
Thank you.
I
I
actually
appreciate
had
that.
And it was just interesting because Marvin Gaye was on the show too. And the Supremes weren't well known, but they were
No.
on the show.
Yeah.
And I remember that.
Well, at that time, which of course they did amazing after that,
Yes.
but the Supremes had been known as the no-hit wonders. Because they tried so hard and they made it, and when they made it, they just flew off the charts.
Right.
Because I think they had, 10 or 12 number one hits in a row. So that was better than all the other artists that had done
Now,
so.
Holland Dozier Holland did a lot of their songs.
They
correct?
did. The ones that became hits, yes.
Right.
Because prior to that, Mr. Gordy, Smokey, I don't know how many other writers tried to get a hit on them, but they just couldn't. It's all about timing,
Yeah.
and if the timing is right, it'll happen.
Now, you were around when you said that when you all started, and Barry asked, Smokey, did he have other songs? He said about 100.
Yes.
Were any of those 100 used as you all went along?
No. I don't think any of them were.
So, did you, because you and Smokey married at what year?
59.
Oh, a couple of years after that initial.
Right, after the initial meeting. Because that very first record came out February 19th, 1958. And that was both Bobby and Smokey's birthdays. They were born the same day, same year, same hospital, and met each other 14 years
How
later.
does that happen? How does that happen?
I don't know.
And I'm not sitting up ignoring my former student and my.
Here she is.
But she.
It's all right.
I got this opportunity.
It's all right.
And,
This is my special person right here. So
I know because she has always talked about you. She's always.
It's all right.
My Aunt Claudette. you know.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a blessing for me to be able to be a part of this history and making right here, because Miss Perryman loves you. She talks about you all the time, as well as I do. So it's all right. If it was anybody else, I would feel some kind of way, but I don't.
I know. So back to you.
I knew she
will
was going
tell
to do
you,
it.
this is quite a surprise to me
I
because
know.
she picked me up from the airport this morning, and I thought I was just coming to support her, and I didn't know I
But
was
you don't walk into, Randy Henry could tell you this,
Yeah,
you walk
you-
into a television studio.
And not expect to
not
go on
get
TV.
out.
Yes.
But see, I know so much about Motown, and
Yes.
it's just such a part of me. But I do want to know this. Did you ever help on any of the songs, writing of any of the songs?
Smokey and I actually wrote a song together, but it wasn't on the Miracles. It was done by Gladys Knight and the Pips and the Supremes, but unfortunately it didn't become a big hit.
But I think you wrote one together. Did
Yeah.
he just stay up at night and write songs, or he just...
No, Smokey, fortunately for him, has a God-given talent that he has been writing, from what I've heard, since he was 6 years old. In his first grade class, I think he wrote like a whole play or something for his class. And so he's had that talent. He writes, well, he did write at any time, anywhere, on any kind of media or something, because he would write on a notebook. He would write on toilet paper, tissues, back of a checkbook, whatever. Whenever it hit him that he would get an idea, he would just write.
So did you realize, too, that when you all made records, back in the day with the 45s, we played both sides.
Yes.
both sides were kind of hits to us. I mean, maybe it was a Detroit thing, but I was mentioning when I went down to South Carolina, King Street, little town, when I was a little girl. And well, no, I wasn't. I was really 16.
That's a little girl.
And they talked about James Brown. And I said, James Brown? I'm from Motown. I said, our groups were cool. And I had never seen James Brown. And then they said, well, he's going to be on Ed Sullivan. So we all gathered around the television because they were crazy over James Brown. And I saw this man come out. He's shaking his head and the hair going back and forth. And I said, oh, no, Motown is much cooler than James Brown. You know, it was just a different, you know, Motown had a flair. And did you... you always dressed, I always remember many times, in a dress that came to your knees and a belt, or either it just fitted you. You were just in at the waist. You had a nice figure.
And you're saying I don't know.
No,
She said had. Notice she said had, Miss Robinson.
Oh, golly. I mean,
No, you know I'm teasing you, right?
no, I was getting ready to say I had a lot of things. Back
We
in the
all
day that I don't
had.
have, you know.
Absolutely.
So so you've been in California since when?
72, 73.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So
we've been there 45, 46 years.
now you're still involved. You're involved with the Hal Awards too.
Yes, I am. That's Heroes and Legends. And it's founded by Miss Janie Bradford, who is
Yes.
a female songwriter and wrote the song Money
Right,
along with Mr. Gordy.
right. In fact, I contacted her on Facebook a few months ago, and I'm just hoping that I hear she'll be in town in September.
She will. She'll be here on, I believe, the 19th, September 19th.
Right. And I want to get an opportunity to meet her because a lot of us related to money. You
Yes.
know, that was a different kind of song.
Absolutely.
The best things in life are free, but you could give them to the birds and bees.
I need some money.
I need some money, baby.
So out there, you are involved with the Hal Awards. What are some of the other things that you do?
Well, I'll start with, I've always volunteered, and I volunteered in the school system from probably 1972 until, actually just recently, my oldest granddaughter, Lyric, just graduated from USC.
Now, how many children did you and Smokey have?
Two, a boy and a girl. My son, my first, is Barry William Barope, which is Bobby, Ronnie, and Pete.
Oh my God! So you got the whole Miracles
I got them all.
organization
Yes,
down there.
yes. And then for my daughter, she's Tamla Claudette.
Oh my goodness, Pamela Claudette.
Yes.
And Barry William.
William after his dad.
Right.
And Barope is B-O for Bobby, R-O for Ronnie, and P-E for Pete.
Gee.
We just want to get them all in.
Get them all in just in case.
He's
Just
a
honor
cover.
them all.
Are any of your children interested in show business or singing?
My granddaughter, Lyric.
How old is she?
She's 22. And she just graduated. She just turned 22, and her major is the music industry.
Really?
Yes. So it's business as well as performance.
Now, is she a singer?
She is a singer, and she has her own style, and that's what she'd really like to do. She'd like to sing, but she said if it comes to just doing the business, she'll do that.
Well, you know, getting into, what do you think about these days, getting into the music business as opposed to the way it was back then when you and Smokey, Pete, and everybody got in?
Well, it's different, but things change.
Of
And
course.
sometimes for the better, and sometimes not. But the thing is that you have to change with the times. You cannot just stay stagnant and just think that you're going to still do the same thing you did in 1959.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't
Absolutely.
work. And, you know, something that you were asking me, I want to tell you that, you know, Mr. Gordy gave me the official title of First Lady of Motown.
That's what, yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to think of this morning. And I
Yeah.
said, well, I wasn't going to call you the First Lady of Motown, which
Absolutely.
in many ways you were.
Well, I was the First Lady of Motown because there weren't any other ladies. There were only guys that were there. And so by being there first, because we started in 57, actually before Motown began.
You know, you would never know it. You are so beautiful.
Oh, my goodness.
You are
You
so
are
beautiful.
so beautiful.
Beautiful. You don't want Nortrice and I to start singing. We'll run everybody out the studio.
And you know, I just finished a children's book.
You did.
I did, and I'm going to have it. It will September 20th. I'll have it with me here at the Motown 60.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the title of the book?
It is. You know, I
Let me
probably
get it.
should get it
Let
for
me
you.
get it.
Oh,
So you
she's gonna
can
see
I'll get it. I'm not
Can
doing
we see
anything.
it?
Yeah, it's just a copy of it. But
We will see it.
yeah, you're going to be able
What
to
was your
see it.
inspiration for that?
Well, you know, I've been trying to write my bio for the last probably 30 years. And my love is always children.
Right.
And I thought, you know, I'm always like volunteering in the classroom, I'm doing something, so why not give them basically a history lesson on me?
Yes, and you call it Claudette's
Miraculous Motown Adventure.
Motown Adventure.
Right.
So you did you,
I did me.
and this covers, oh, this is so nice. Now Claudette had to stay inside every day because children couldn't go outside and play.
That's right. And then she opens up the box, and guess what's in the box? Some little elves. And one is Smokey, Bobby, Ronnie, and Pete.
and the rest is history.
That's right. And
But, you know, look at everybody. There's a picture on the back of her, just like always. How was the camaraderie with the group?
with the guys. Well, I was truly blessed because the guys treated me like royalty. Really, very respectful. Always thinking of making sure I was safe, secure, and that it was like having 4 bodyguards at all times.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of females didn't have that.
Yes.
They had to really get out there on their own. But I tell you, with the guys being there, you know, they could put their arm up, like if someone was trying to, like, get through or, you
Yes.
know, not behave in the proper manner.
Right.
I always had one of the 4 helping me.
Wow, I just looked and the time is up. It's almost time for my other show. Oh, everyone, you saw it here first.
Yeah.
This is Miss Claudette, the I
First
want to
lady.
say First Lady. See, I was getting ready to put the Queen of Motown.
No,
I was
First
getting
Lady.
ready to put that on my Facebook page, but I just said the First Lady of Motown. Here she is. This is her first book.
First book.
She's going to have several
You're
because
right.
the saga has to continue.
Absolutely, and I thank you for showing it to them.
And I'm excited, You've seen the film, Hitsville.
Yes.
It'll be on Showtime this Sunday, but there's a premiere tonight
Yes.
at the Imagine Theater.
Right.
So I can't wait to see. You think we'll be excited?
I think you will. I think there will be some things that probably people don't know. It only goes to the end of when everyone left
And went to-
Detroit.
Okay.
Unfortunately, right at this time, but I think there'll probably be a number 2 starting for California. The California group.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great.
Mhm.
So I'll see you this evening.
You will.
Yeah,
You
I'll
will.
be there.
Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for having me, even though I didn't know I was going to be on, but I'm glad that I was.
didn't know either, and you know, when I met her back in the spring, I told her I wanted her to be on my show, but I never thought. God is so good. Thank you so much. I've loved her all my life,
Oh,
and I love
thank you.
And thank you, God, for allowing me to bring my Aunt Claudette for this interview this
And
morning.
see, relationships are
Thank you.
important.
They
If
are.
I had known her from high school and put her in, I made you play a nun in The Sound of Music.
She made me play a nun. Yes,
All
she
right.
did.
Well, the drama teacher's still here. So everybody stay tuned. I have the National Basketball retired Players Association. I did it right. I have Willie Norwood, Randy Henry. I have Maceo, Bastion. I'm excited. I have, and more here. So stay tuned.